We're already in week 9, guys. This week's been kind of dull, though. There's not been any stories, no news, no captivating, interesting stuff, nothing. Right. This video, though, we're going to be going over the best matchups and the best bets that you can pick for this week for college football. On the year, I'm 46 and 24, about 66%, which is pretty good. Spread's right about even, but, you got to hedge your bets a little bit, so get right into it, guys, with the number 10 matchup for the week. Clemson at NC State. Clemson, last week they lost by 8 to Miami, coming in as a 3.5-point favorite in that one on the road. They lost in overtime. NC State, I do believe, coming off a loss as well. Both 4-3, which is miraculous at this point in the season. Clemson already has 3 losses, and it's not even November. That's insane. They're a 10-point favorite in this one. Over-under is only 44, so this is supposed to be a very low-scoring game. Clemson has a 17th ranked defense, and their offense actually ranked 22nd, which is actually surprising too, since they've been kind of inept for the better part of 3 years here. If I had to pick, I'm going to pick Clemson in the money line, and I think Clemson's just going to cover the spread. NC State's just not good against the spread at home, 3-6 as an underdog. Clemson's 20-5. Obviously, one of those losses was last week, but I think they cover this week and win outright as well. Number 9, Texas versus BYU. Texas is going to be, for at least the short term, going to be without Quinn Ewers. Who knows if he'll come back this season? I sure hope he does, because Texas is a very, very good team, and all they need is a decent quarterback to lead them. But the backup is not going to be Arch Manning this week. It's the other guy. I forget his name. So I don't know what's going to happen this one. Texas is 17.5-point favorites. Again, they're at home, but again, breaking in a new quarterback that hasn't played much at all this year, it might be a little struggle for them. I'm going to take Texas money line, but I do believe, just simply because of the backup quarterback breaking in this late in the season, I will take BYU in the spread, 17.5. That's a lot of points. Yeah, they're at home, and BYU is, kind of a mid team, but again, quarterback backup is going to make a big difference in why I'm picking that, and that's why I'm picking BYU with the spread. Number 8, another Group of 5 matchup with all these top 10 matchups, guys. Number 6-1 Fresno State versus 6-1 UNLV. Fresno State's only loss was to Wyoming. UNLV's only loss was to that team that's up north, the Upper Peninsula, that has been very quiet, flying under the radar this week. Absolutely no stories associated with that. But anyway, that was their only loss of the season. This is actually going to be a pretty decent matchup, I think. Both are about even in record strength. UNLV actually has a higher record strength than Fresno State does. The analytics show that Fresno State's a lot better in the offensive and defensive side, though. Both have played a pretty easy strength of schedule. Neither in the top 115, so I mean that's crazy. And I do believe Fresno State will win this game outright. But I do believe UNLV will cover 7.5 points. I think I'm going to take the spread. The winner of this game will get sole possession of second place in the Mountain West, and will basically take a stranglehold over that. Yes, UNLV probably has Boise State, and I do believe Wyoming still to go on their schedule. We'll see how that is. But right now, UNLV has the best winning percentage this late in the season since who knows when. I couldn't even look up the stat how far long ago it was, because they've been such a bad team. This is the best team they've had, at least to start the season, in a very long time, at least a couple decades. I'm going to think they're going to cover the spread if Fresno State wins outright. Tennessee and Kentucky, the SEC East matchup. Tennessee's still ranked after that, after their loss to Alabama, but they rebounded to beat Texas A&M. Tennessee's only a 3.5-point favorite in this one. 13th, the strength of schedule, actually pretty decently hard schedule. Kentucky still has the first half. I mean, my God, they're going to end up at 7 wins, absolute tops this year. They played 97th ranked strength of schedule. Tennessee's is much better in offense and defense than Kentucky, and the record strength is better too. Neither team have been in this position much before in the last 5 years. Kentucky's 4-5 as a home underdog, while Tennessee is 6-3 as an away favorite. So I would take Tennessee in the money line, but I do think Kentucky will cover the 3.5-point spread. I picked Texas A&M to cover the 3.5-point spread a week ago, and I think Tennessee. I do believe Kentucky will cover this one. So we'll see what happens with this one, but I think it's going to be a really close matchup. Tennessee eventually will get the win, though. Number 6, out the Pac-12, Oregon State versus Arizona. Oregon State goes on the road, only a 3.5-point favorite on the road, 56.5 over/under. Arizona State is actually a very surprising team. I thought they would be pretty decent coming off of the way they finished last year, and they've also obviously been pretty decent. I don't know if they have the bulk of their schedule remaining, but they do have a legit chance to make it back to a bowl game. So Oregon State's a much better team analytically, and the record strength shows as well. And I think Oregon State's going to win this. Not only win this, but I think they're going to cover the 3.5. I'm really surprised it's this close. Again, I'm probably going to be proven wrong with the spread again, but the analytics show that Oregon State's a much better team. And I don't know if there's any injuries to Oregon State, but I just think they're going to cover, and they're going to move to 7-1 on the season, probably moving in the top 10 in the first CFP rankings, honestly. Biggest cocktail party in the world. Number 1 Georgia against 4-4 Florida. This is only a 14-point spread. I was shocked at how close the spread was. Either Vegas really thinks Florida's going to come out and just ball and bust their ass, or Florida's just a much better team than everybody's giving them credit for, and Georgia is not the team they've been the last 2 years. I see on the bottom there, strength of schedule is very close, 83-102. Both have been really easy strength of schedules. Not too elite, I guess, with record strength. Georgia's all the way back at 8th, while Florida's actually at 27th, which is miraculous. Being a 4-4, they still have the 27th ranked record strength. So that just shows, their current strength of schedule is 83rd, but they still play some decent teams. Or Georgia has a much better advantage analytically. I think they're going to win this, and I think they're going to cover the 14-point spread. Honestly, I think Georgia's just way out of Florida's league. The rest of the SEC East, besides Tennessee and Georgia, I think is just trash. So we'll have to see, but I do believe Georgia will annihilate Florida in this one. Kansas and Oklahoma. Kansas comes in the 9.5-point underdog at home, but they're 4-17 as a home favorite in the last 5 years. At the same time, Oklahoma comes in 9.5 points, but they've lost 6 games as an away favorite in the last 5 years. So this isn't out of the realm of possibility where Oklahoma, is a surefire win this, and Kansas is not the same Kansas of yesteryears. Yes, Oklahoma's 3rd in record strength, and Kansas is 33rd. Yes, the defense is much better than Kansas' defense, but the offense is right up there. And the power rankings, it's a big disparity, but I just feel like Kansas is going to cover this one. Oklahoma, I do believe, will win. Kansas will cover the 9.5 points, though. Two scores. Yeah, they're at home. They're feeling it. This is a very big trap game for Oklahoma after all their success to start the season. In Kansas, this is not a look pass game. This is a very, very tough matchup for them. Even if their backup, Bean, I think his name is, they've been a really, really tough out. So I do believe this will be a close game. Will be within a score. I think Oklahoma will eventually win though, because they just have that much more talent. Number 3 in the Big Ten, the big one up in Madison, Wisconsin hosting number 3 Ohio State. Wisconsin's 5-2. That loss to Iowa a couple weeks ago was pretty earth-shattering. It was very devastating, but then Iowa turned back around last week and lost to Minnesota. So the Big Ten West is just completely wide open at this point. And I don't understand, how it's that bad, but it just is. And this is not going to help with the Badgers, though, with their conference record, because, let's be honest. Ohio State has been a juggernaut for the better part of forever that I can remember. Since freaking Tressel left, they've only picked up they had that 1 year in 2011 where that was obviously just, a farce. And ever since then, they've won at least, I do believe, besides the COVID year, they won at least 10 games every single year. So, saying that, Ohio State's 21-2 as an away favorite in the last 5 years. Wisconsin's never been a home underdog in the last 5 years. That just shows how good they are in Madison, how good they are at Camp Randall. This is a scary place to play. I do believe Ohio State's lost at least twice at Camp Randall since the new millennium. They don't play that much because they're in the opposite division. It's not a guaranteed matchup every year, but this is just a very tough place to play for anybody. I do believe Ohio State will win. I think even with Wisconsin's weird morphs, whatever offense you want to call it, they're still going to cover 14.5. I still think they're a really good team, but I think Ohio State's just going to be too good. And they honestly, if they win this one, they played a tough schedule. They're 17th right now. They have the number 1 record strength. They honestly might be number 1 in the CFP rankings. They were able to pull this one off. Number 2, Duke versus Louisville. 2 surprising teams out of the ACC. We thought these 2 teams would be good, but not this good. Louisville, the only loss they had was the Pitt. That was a bad loss. I don't know how they did that, but Duke is right there. The only loss was to Notre Dame, and who was the other loss to? I do forget who else they lost to start the season. But Louisville, if they didn't lose to Pitt, they could have potentially been cracking the top 10 and been serious contenders of the CFP, just like Florida State. Either way, these two are basically even in the defense. Offense is kind of even as well. Record strength right about even. Although Duke's played much harder strength of schedule so far, where Louisville's 85th. Everything just favors Louisville in this one. 18-3 as a home favorite, while Duke is 7-15 as an away underdog. I think Louisville wins. I think Louisville covers the 4.5, and I do believe Louisville is the best chance to be the second place in the ACC and join Florida State in the ACC title game as we move along this season. And this one will catapult them and make them, have a bigger stranglehold on it, I do believe. So, the number one matchup for the week, though, Oregon at Utah. Utah is the two-time defending Pac-12 champ. Oregon beat Utah last year late in the season, but then they had a bunch of tiebreakers at the end where Utah eventually, got the nod as the second team with USC. But in this one, Oregon's a 6.5-point favorite on the road, and it's only a 47.5. So I do believe Vegas thinks that this is going to be a defensive battle. And we all know how good Oregon's offense is, and we all know good Utah's defense is. It's going to be the opposite side of the ball. Oregon's defense versus Utah's offense, and I do believe Oregon's offense will prevail in this one. Bo Nix is just dude's on a mission. They had a bye last week. After that, heartbreaking loss to Washington. So we'll see with this one what happens. Oregon's played a lot easier schedule, even with that Washington game. Utah's played a lot tougher teams, but Oregon's 13-5 as a road favorite. And Utah has only been a home underdog once. So this is a very tough pick for me because, again, that bottom stat, Utah has been an underdog at home once the last 5 years. Shows how good they are at home. I'm still going to take Oregon. This game is not going to be the same as a 2021 game. The Brayton Covey punt return for a touchdown right before half made it 28-0. This is not the same Oregon team. This is not the same Utah team, obviously. They don't have Rising. They don't have all the rest of their offensive studs. I think Oregon's going to win this, and I think Oregon's going to cover. And I still think they have an outside chance of making it back into the Pac-12, getting their rematch Washington, and possibly sliding into the last CFP slot at number 4 as they march on and beat Utah in this one, I do believe. That's my analysis for the matchups, guys. What do you think? Who do you think is going to be the most surprising team? Who do you think there could be any upsets? Let me know in the comments below. Join me on Twitter for any of my up-to-date news, tweets, whatever it is throughout the weekend. And please join me for all my shorts. I posted a lot this week, a lot of iterations of the Michigan scandal. I'm going to post a lot of more instant reactions on my shorts as the weekend progresses. But look for those, guys. And join me next week for Week 10 of the best college football matchups. See you then.